guys, so we are sitting here in my living room. Back here on my TV we have Iron Man. Why is that on the TV, Brennan?
We're rewatching all the Marvel movies in preparation for Infinity War.
That's right, Infinity War comes out really at the end of April, and while we're not going to probably watch it like in theaters, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to rewatch all of the Marvel movies, just like Brennan said, in order that they came out. So Iron Man came out in 2008. And what we're going to try to do to keep this video kind of short, hopefully, is we're going to give a one-sentence review of each movie as we watch it in preparation to watch Infinity War, whenever that is. So here's my sentence for Iron Man. Ready? Iron Man set the stage for the Marvel formula when it comes to humor and when it comes to action. It set the precedent, and it was a beautiful, fantastic, fun movie, and I am just so excited to watch the rest of the Marvel movies. Brennan?
I have been told that Iron Man, like the original Iron Man, is the best Marvel movie ever made, and I need to rewatch all of them in order to see if that's actually true or not.
Alright, ooh, how about that? Yours was more mysterious, mine was pretty direct, but that's how it's gonna be, so let's cut to Incredible Hulk. Alright, we just watched The Incredible Hulk from 2008, the very next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe lineup of movies. This is the only one from Phase 1 that I have not seen of the Marvel movies. And The Incredible Hulk was a lot more dark and not humorous at all, and it was very surprising to me and a little bit more violent than I thought it was going to be. I was just very surprised, and I know that it's kind of a spiritual sequel to the 2003 version of the Hulk, and it tried to take the franchise, I guess, in a different direction, and it wasn't really an origin story, but it was like kind of a lead-off of the original story, but it was really interesting, and it filled in a few little gaps of information that I needed to know as far as the Hulk's story goes, and I don't know if that was one sentence, but I did my best, and we still have like 20 more of these to go. We're doing it. Brennan?
Yeah, my review, I'll make it more short. It was so far not my favorite out of all the Marvel movies that I've seen. The movie kind of started off like in the middle of what you would assume the whole story of the Hulk is, and it just kind of like picked up where it left off somewhere, and then it was you had to leave, or it led you to believe that you had to like assume the past.
Oh, okay, that's it. These like one sentence reviews are kind of hard. All right, on to the next movie. Okay, so we just watched Iron Man 2 from 2010, the sequel to Iron Man. Now, Brennan, you can go first on this one.
Yeah, this is, I think, the first Marvel movie I actually remember watching, like, I think in high school. And since we've started rewatching them, I've found a new appreciation for the Iron Man movies. I don't think anything will compete with the first Iron Man movie because nothing beats, like, the origin story. But, like, this one was just really fun, and it introduced, like, newer characters, and it's, like, I don't know, now I'm losing my train of thought, but basically it's not as good as the first one, but it's still just as good.
Okay, I can agree with that. I think that it was a fun follow-up to Iron Man, and pretty much exactly what you said. I mean, just the original Iron Man formula that kind of set the standard for all of the Marvel movies, in my opinion, in terms of science and humor that it introduced. It didn't quite live up to that, but again, it kind of just set the track further for the rest of the Marvel universe and for Phase 1 leading up to the Avengers and all that, the Easter eggs that it kind of set in motion for that. I thought it was really cool and it was fun. Now on to the next movie.
Yay! Watching Thor. It was made in 2011, and I think we can both agree it wasn't our favorite Marvel movie. I think the whole purpose of this one was to set it up for the Avengers, so nothing about the storyline of Thor is going to be relevant to any other storyline in the future. Actually, I don't know, because we haven't seen Ragnarok, so I could be wrong, or by saying this, I could be ignorant. I don't know. But that's kind of my thoughts on the whole thing.
I mean, all the stories, they do intertwine, and that's kind of the purpose of all the Marvel movies, and why we're watching them in chronological order, because we are seeing little Easter eggs, I guess, that set up different plot points in later movies. So I wouldn't agree on that, really, but yeah, I do agree that it's not really the most... See, the fact is like, for me, Iron Man set up the I guess, believability of the entire Marvel series and everything that like related to that in terms of technological believability is how I view the rest of the series. And this one was just so out there. Like, this is the most fictional one. They tried to make it work with the science and all that, but it didn't quite land. And I agree that it really seems like the purpose was just to kind of set it up for the Avengers. Like, here's Thor, here's the origin story of Thor.
Yeah. But
let's get ready for the Avengers. But next on our list is Captain America, the First Avenger.
Woo!
Alright, moving right along, we just watched the 2011 movie Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie was like very different than the other ones. It's an origin story, but it was set in like a different time period, so that was really cool getting to see, I guess, that interpretation of the World War II era and getting to see how this Marvel character fit in with all of that. Some of that was a little bit not as believable, you know, with all of the technology in the 1940s time period.
Giant ray guns.
Yeah, the disintegration rays that they had in there, and like Thor, I think this one was just to kind of set it up for Avengers, really get that big blockbuster, action-packed boy band Marvel movie out there. But it was still a fun movie by itself,
yeah.
And I know every Captain America has been exponentially better than the previous one because it's a fun character to do lots of cool stuff with. But it was fun. I liked it.
I was more about this one than Thor as far as like setting up just for origin story like stories go.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the twist was that it was set back in the day, and even though the technology was not super presently dated or properly dated, it still was dated, so it was cool. And I enjoy the Captain America movies. Like, I like his franchise.
Mm-hmm. And now it's on to the big one, Avengers. Alright, we did it. We completed phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the Avengers from 2012. Everything that Marvel has been constructing in its movies from 2008 with Iron Man up to this was leading up to this conglomeration of superheroes and the biggest superhero movie of all time, without a doubt, and it completely delivered. I remember watching this in the theater with a bunch of people and just being so excited and into it.
Same.
And I don't know, it was just as fun watching it now as it has always been. It's just such a well-delivered movie of just comedy and action. Not really a lot of romance, but like a little bit of romance there, which is probably like the right formula for this kind of a thing when you have all these characters and all their stories and how they interact and how they intertwine to deliver this awesome superhero movie that completed the phase 1 project of Marvel and just kind of made it a name of superhero amazingness that every movie after had to kind of meet this caliber of quality of a superhero movie. And I don't know, that's just my review. It's just that it was so fun and awesome and cool to watch, and it just felt really worth it, just kind of investing all that in all the characters that we have up to this point, and they worked better together than I thought that they would. And real quick, this started off as supposing to be like one-sentence reviews of these movies, and they're just not really
that's
anymore.
Very hard for Roy.
I'm
could do it.
sorry, now it's your turn.
Yeah, I have a very similar opinion on the movie. It was just super fun, super fan servicey, and I enjoyed watching it. Like, the fight scenes were really cool. There's some like action movies where fight scenes I get really bored of, but like this one, it was just fun, and I'm like really excited for Infinity War now. So we just got done watching Iron Man 3 from 2013, and this was the first movie after the Avengers, and I remember seeing this one too. And this one was a little weird for me. Like, the plot of it just didn't make sense. It seemed very random to me. Like, I know it's kind of its own standalone plot, which I guess a lot of the other ones are, but like, it was a little bit weird.
Oh, is that it?
That was it, period.
Well, so I agree. I did think it was a little bit off, although I appreciated it because the Avengers kind of introduced a lot of like questions and issues that I kind of appreciated the follow-up to in this movie. There were twists in this that I was not a fan of, like the villain kind of not being the villain. That was kind of a big twist in this, and then Iron Man's girlfriend ending up having superpowers at the end and being suddenly really athletic and agile and defeating the villain, and then Iron Man's like, okay, destroy all my suits, let's have some fireworks. And I don't know, like I guess the ending of this was one where I was just like, really? They went for like the cliche, like, I don't need my suits, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, which was like not the worst message to make, but it was just like, of course. And we haven't had another Iron Man since, and but Iron Man representation of all movies, you know, like in the Avengers, like I think Iron Man works best, aside from the original one, in movies that aren't his. Like the small doses of him and cameo versions of the other movies, Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, which we haven't reviewed yet, you know, I think those are like really nice doses of Iron Man, rather than his own plot. But all around, it still was a fun movie. Iron Man movies are still so much fun because of the technological aspects of them, and I still liked it. There's really no bad Marvel movie for me at all. So if I give one of these movies like, I don't know about this, I didn't really like that, I still liked it, but you know, not as much as I may be able to. Okay, now next is Thor: The Dark World. Yay!
Maybe it'll be a 15-minute review from Roy instead of a 20.
Alright, so we have just finished with Thor: The Dark World from 2013. Now this one was interesting because as far as like the Thor story goes, as far as realism and believability goes aside, it's definitely the most, it's an outlier in terms of all the Marvel characters. But I think the secondary characters are about, what about this movie that I'm really not into, because the characters from this movie are the most, they're not really relevant to the entire Marvel story, and they're fun to watch here, you know, but you just, I don't know, they don't have that, what I like about other secondary characters from other Marvel movies. But as far as The Dark World goes, I mean, it was a fun movie. I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, I liked it too. Ever since you brought up that point about like, here's another person trying to take over the world, how come the Avengers don't assemble here? Like, that's all I thought about in this movie.
That's what we've been talking about too, is that, you know, once the Avengers have assembled already, now like, what counts as like a catastrophic event where the Avengers would want to assemble again, or whether, oh no, Thor has this one, Thor can handle it. I don't know. Just,
I mean, he did.
He did handle it. Well, I guess it's on to the next movie, which is, I guess, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Yay! Alright, so we just watched Captain America, the Winter Soldier from 2014. This is officially the halfway point of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've watched 9 movies now. We have 9 more to watch before Infinity War comes out later on in May. I thought this was a lot of fun. This was very, very different. This one, when it came to the action, was a lot more hand-to-hand combat. The stakes were a lot higher in this one, and it was different. It wasn't, I mean, there was a lot of CGI, obviously, but it made the stakes a little bit more grounded, I thought. And it further, like, it started the arc of Bucky and all these other things that are prevalent in every single, you know, Avengers movie and other movies from here on out. And I don't know, it was just fun.
Yeah, I liked this movie. I remember watching it. We say that about all of them, but the thing that I like the most about this one is the storyline created for Steve and Bucky. Like, I just like their friendship storyline, and then I like when they, like, that moment where it's like overcome, which I know it's not yet, but it was in the post-credits. So I'm excited for Civil War.
Yeah, and then Civil War, and then I guess Infinity War. Like, it's just gonna be so much fun. Everything is starting to accumulate together with all these storylines and arcs and characters, and it's gonna be great. But next is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Woohoo!
Alright, Brennan, so we just watched Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. It is definitely, as far as up to this point, the most comedic installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as far as like believability goes, like, this one was definitely an outlier when it came to, okay, like, now we've introduced this entire new universe, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I guess, right? But I don't know. It was still a lot of fun, and we got to see Thanos, you know, the big guy in the purple floating chair. No, the purple guy in the big floating chair. The big purple guy in the floating chair. There it is. He's all those things. I thought it was fun. It was cool, and once you, like, you know, you succumbed to the believability as far as this movie goes, then I think the entire rest of the Marvel universe is going to make a lot more sense and be a little bit more intertwined. What do you think?
I think the Guardians of the Galaxy movie was just fun. Like, I think it was a different style of the rest of the Marvel movies, and so this one was just more fun. I don't know. I enjoy it. I think it brings a whole set of characters that are different than what we've been seeing, but it's been very well received by me personally and other people.
And I think this movie alone was it was very much so a risk for Marvel, you know, just kind of introducing this batch of heroes that nobody's really ever heard of. You know, like Thor, you know, all these other heroes, like, you know, everybody's kind of heard of them, but these guys, like, and then they hit it out of the park. So that's when Marvel, I think, with this movie knew that they had a golden egg when it came to just their movies. So next we get to watch, what is it? It is Avengers, Age of Ultron. It's one of those. We have a lot to watch still. We've only made it halfway, but we have so many to watch and we're so excited. Age of Ultron. Alright, so we just watched Avengers Age of Ultron from 2015. Brennan, what did you think about it? I'll let you go first on this one.
Honestly, not my favorite movie out of the Marvel series.
Ooh.
It started off like where all the CGI was like super weirdly done. Like, it just seemed off for its time. Like, I feel like it just wasn't good.
I kind of agree. I don't know. I mean, I saw it in theaters last time that I saw it, and maybe it was just different because it was so much bigger, but like condensed and right in front of you on like a smaller screen. Maybe it was more noticeable.
It was weird. But the storyline itself, I don't know. There was something about it where it was just like everything was too serious, or like there was like a lot going on, and like I know it's like a huge turning point in the series, and I get that part, but entertainment-wise, like personally, not my favorite.
Okay. I agree with parts of that. I do think that this movie, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kind of anticipated that the viewers are, like, they've committed to these movies. Like, if you're watching Avengers Age of Ultron, you have seen the previous movies, you've seen the previous Avengers, like, you are in it, you know. It's like you can't just like jump into a random Harry Potter movie at the end of the series. Like, you know what you're watching, and that's why you're watching it. So I think this movie, they just kind of hit the road with the storyline, with the callbacks, with the flash forwards, the flashbacks. They, you know, let you know more about the Infinity Stones. They're setting up the bigger story with this. They played around with Ultron, who's I know a very popular comic book villain character. And action-wise, definitely the pacing of this was a lot of fun because they had a lot of storyline to get through, but then they also had the humor that Marvel has to put into their movies to make them a Marvel movie. I think they did that really well. But then I agree, like, the story was just a little bit, like, you had to be really into it to follow along with it. And it was still a fun movie. Like, no Marvel movie's bad, and I'm always going to try to preface that if I have a complaint about a Marvel movie. Yay, this video is gonna be so long. I'm so excited for it. Sorry, guys. But next is Ant-Man. Yay, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
All right, Brennan, so we did it. We watched Ant-Man from 2015. There's a whale up there. But we did it. That completes phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that we need to watch. So now we are just on, after this, phase 3, and then Marvel's Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War from Marvel. Anyway, what did you think of Ant-Man?
Okay, so I thought, personally, I liked it. It seemed very, very standalone, to where it seems like one of those, what was the way I described it? Like off-brand Marvel, just because you were so used to this big, giant storyline with the same characters, and then you get to Ant-Man where it's like brand new, and you're just like, this is weird, but
well,
like
they still trickled in some like Avengers and some
they did.
Characters and
but
stuff.
like the movie itself was really fun. I liked it.
I mean, I liked it too. I agree. Like, when it comes to stakes and stuff, like the movie right before this was Avengers Age of Ultron, which, you know, in terms of calamity and storyline and everything happening is up here, and then Ant-Man's, you know, is down here, the guy that controls ants. But I do think it was fun. Is the cat up here somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was so much fun, and I liked it. And you know, it's not my favorite Marvel movie, and I was surprised at how well that they did it, because when I heard that they were making an Ant-Man, I was like, okay, what's happening now? What is Marvel doing? But they know what they're doing really, really well. And this was the first one that you hadn't seen.
This is the first movie
right?
from Marvel that I hadn't seen. This and Ragnarok are the only 2 Marvel movies I haven't seen yet.
I still haven't seen Ragnarok, but that's like 5 movies away now, so we still have some movies to watch. But next is Captain America: Civil War. Are you excited?
I am!
The Captain America movies are so good.
They are.
So we just watched Captain America: Civil War back there. And wow, I think that is my favorite Marvel movie.
It is such a good movie. I wanted to stop it halfway through because I was actually really tired, but I was so into it I forgot.
It's just so good. Every movie like you watch, every time you watch it, you're just kind of like, it loses like a little bit of its flair every time you watch it. But not this one. Every time that I've watched it, I've been so into it, into the story. Just everything is culminating more and more and more in these Marvel movies. And the big debate when it comes to Captain America: Civil War is that is it an Avengers movie? Because it almost is. It just needs a couple more characters in there, and then it's an Avengers movie.
I think it gives you like that first good taste of what Infinity War is going to be like. And the last time that I watched this, when it first came out, I didn't appreciate it because I mean, it was cool that all the characters were coming together, but like when you watch them all close together like we've been doing, it makes it so much more cool.
You pick up on the Easter eggs, the characters, the dialogue, everything that's significant about the entire story altogether. I think the Captain America movies are the best done sequential movies in the series. You know, like the other kinds of like Iron Man 1, 2, 3, you know, some of those are better than others, but like all the Captain America movies, they keep getting better. And what's cool is that about, I guess, this is kind of like the last that we see all these characters like together before Infinity War. You know, so all the movies that came after this are either sequels or origin stories for other Marvel characters, I guess. So I'm excited. This movie, like, you could watch just the Captain America movies, I think, and you could kind of get an idea about what's gonna happen in Infinity War, what it's all leading up to. But this one was absolutely significant in setting it up for Infinity War. And I am so stoked now. Are you ready for Infinity War?
Yeah.
But next we have to, this is from 2016, by the way, but next we have to watch Doctor Strange.
Woohoo! Which we just saw recently, somewhat recently.
Yeah, all the ones that we're starting to watch again now are ones that we've seen relatively recently, so we're doing pretty good.
Yay.
Yay, alright, phase 3, let's do it. Doctor Strange. Alright, Brennan, so we just watched Doctor Strange from 2016. Do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah!
Go for it.
Doctor Strange was another one of those movies where it was just kind of like out of the normal realm of like technology and like so this one, that's the intelligent version. But this one will be cool to see in Infinity War. I guess it's not really talking about the movie. I liked Doctor Strange. It was a little hard to understand, but I'm most curious to see on how his whole shtick is gonna work along with all the other...
His shtick. That's what he's got. No, I agree.
I didn't finish.
I'm sorry.
How his shtick is gonna work against all the other, like, bzoo bzoo and poof poof.
Are you done yet? Cool. I agree to Brennan's very articulate review of Doctor Strange. There was a giant mystical, magical factor in this movie that, you know, for a franchise that kind of started on, like, technology and science and all that, for it to be introducing stuff like this, which is very abnormal. I mean, we've had Guardians of the Galaxy, and am I boring you? I'm so sorry. We've had Guardians of the Galaxy, we've had Thor, which were definitely outliers, like we said in the reviews that we've done for those, and this is no exception to that, with the bending of time and space and all that. The special effects in this were absolutely phenomenal, by the way. That's going to be a big plus from me.
Whoops.
But it's true, and I agree that it's going to be interesting to see how that coincides with everybody else's superpower, because his powers are a little bit overpowered compared to, you know, say, Black Widow, who just kind of does a lot of flips and kicks and punches and stuff. You know, there's a big difference between those two. But I wanted to also kind of just point out real quick, aside from the Doctor Strange review, This is the most recent Infinity Stone that we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is the last one that we've seen. So up to this point, of the 6 Infinity Stones for the Infinity Gauntlet, we've seen 5 of them, and I just wanted to kind of review those, talk about them, and kind of even go over them with you. So we've seen the Space Stone, the Mind Stone, the Reality Stone, the Power Stone, and the Time Stone. The only one that we have not seen is the Soul Stone. The Space Stone was in the Tesseract, which is on Asgard. The Mind Stone was in the Chitauri Scepter, which was then implanted into Vision, so that one's on Earth. The Reality Stone was in the Aether from Thor: The Dark World, which is in nowhere in the Collector's Mansion. The Power Stone was in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is in the Orb, which is on Xandar with the Nova Corps. And then the Time Stone is with Doctor Strange on Earth in the Eye of Agamotto. And then, yeah, so all we're waiting for is the Soul Stone, which I understand hasn't shown up in the movies that we still need yet to watch. So we're caught up on where the Infinity Stones are. That's also going to be pretty important for Infinity Wars, just where these stones are and how they interact with the story. So they're all in different places, in different realms, in different areas of, I guess, space and not time, just different areas of space and stuff. So how those are all going to culminate in Infinity War with Thanos and his gauntlet, it's going to be interesting to see, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But next we get to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Yay!
Yay!
Alright guys, so we just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 from 2017, and honestly, not my favorite.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I was very indifferent about this one. I appreciate the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all the other movies that we've been watching, and like the cumulative like influence that they've had on each other, this one was kind of pointless, I think, as far as the grand scope of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not a bad movie, and I've said this plenty of times, no movies are bad in the Marvel Universe, but this one, standalone, and, you know, it was funny, and, you know, it's, I don't know, I wasn't really into it as far as the whole story goes, and we've been watching these back to back to back, so I'm so invested in that story, so if a movie has nothing to do with it, a little bit disappointed.
I liked it. I like the Guardians movie. Like, I do enjoy the humor, and I like the indifference away from the other Marvel movies. And I think this one, it seems kind of irrelevant, but I feel like it's just setting up stuff for the next movies. Like, Gamora and Nebula's relationship is now a relationship, so they'll be fighting together in Infinity War, I assume. And I think whatever happens in this, like, we got introduced to what's her name? Mantis?
Mantis?
Yeah, we got introduced to her. She's gonna be in there too. So I think there was some relevance to it. It was just, they made it into its own movie to kind of purposely add in those things. I thought it was fun.
I agree, and you know, I forgot about Mantis and Nebula because they're gonna be in Infinity War. Or at least I assume so. I don't really know for sure, but I don't know.
They needed to reiterate the point that Thanos sucks.
Yeah, that's true. Thanos does suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, next is a movie that I'm really excited about, which is Spider-Man Homecoming.
That was a good movie. I'm excited to see that again.
Yeah. Alright, Brennan, so we just watched Spider-Man Homecoming from 2017. This one was fun. Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel character. I've enjoyed seeing all of the Sony Spider-Man iterations, but then this one, just introducing it into the Marvel Universe, was fun. And I think my favorite part of this is that there wasn't like, you know, a villain with like world-ending, nefarious, you know, that kind of a plot in this kind of a movie. It was a little bit lower key than that, and I think for that reason, I think the simplicity of that kind of a plot, even though the villain was still, you know, he was a bad guy, it still just, it brought it down a little bit, because every movie has just been one guy that wants to destroy the universe after the other, so I think it needed to tone it down a little bit for this movie. And I don't know, it was fun. You can't really, I mean, a lot of people disagree with this, but I don't think you can really do Spider-Man wrong. I'm wearing a Spider-Man onesie, by the way, if you didn't see that. What did you think of Homecoming?
Same. It's such a fun movie. I like the addition. I like the Tom Holland version. He did a really good job. And I like the way that they kind of wove it into the whole other Marvel universe. We have our grievances with certain characters that we just don't understand.
MJ in this movie, what the heck?
I don't understand her purpose. I don't know.
I don't get it. She has no plot service for this at all, in my
weird.
opinion. It's just...
And then Aunt May, like, they made her out to be that she was super hot, but then, like, the whole movie, people were just like, oh, Aunt May, how is she? But yet they made her look frumpy, so I'm like,
Ooh.
like, are you, like, I guess I'm just like, which side are you committing to? Are you committing to frumpy Aunt May, or are you committing to hot Aunt May? But it just didn't make sense to me.
They gave her like a hipster look in this with, you know, the sweaters and like the big old, you know, horn-rimmed glasses and stuff, which I don't know. But yeah, so other than the, you know, the minor character grievances and stuff, this one was a lot of fun, and I do think it was a very smart, you know, addition to put in Iron Man in here. It really cemented it as part of the Marvel universe. So he's gonna be fun to see in Infinity War. And now we have Thor Ragnarok, which neither of us have seen. Thor Ragnarok!
Finally!
All right, wow. We just watched Thor Ragnarok from 2017. This is the only movie besides The Incredible Hulk that I hadn't seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And wow, oh man, this movie
was weird.
It was weird. It was
weird
all
as hell.
over the place. I did not enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was full of comedy, maybe like a little bit too much comedy, but I enjoyed it. It borrowed a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy humor for sure with this, which like is probably intentional because like the Thor franchise is part of the whole Marvel Cinematic umbrella, was probably like one of the more least popular movies, so I think they knew that they had to kind of switch it up like formula wise, and I think for the most part people really liked this. And I mean, it set pretty much the entire story in Asgard and in these interconnected realms, and that's probably important for Infinity War, like knowing that this is a lot bigger than just our little tiny little Earth, you know. And wow, that was all over the place.
I'm surprised people like this, like just because they changed the formula up so much from the other Thor movies. You would think that people would be like, what the hell is this? And like, I was so, what the hell is this, the first half of the movie, because it wasn't Thor. It wasn't the sense of humor that the last two Thors had. It was like the music was different, the humor was different, they were like, the characters were weird. It was almost like Star Wars. It was so
But Guardians
weird.
of the Galaxy, you know, like a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy vibe to this.
But like, we paused it halfway through and we kind of talked about it, and I was just like, I don't like this. And then like, I kind of got over it, and then I just appreciated the rest of the movie for what it was.
And then it's important to see like where Thor, where Hulk were when all the Civil War business was going down, and how that's all connected. Doctor Strange was in this too, and I'm pretty sure at the end of this they're going to meet up with the Guardians, so it's like all these outliers of characters that haven't been connected are getting connected in this. This movie, for me, was the final connecting piece of this giant Marvel puzzle getting ready for Infinity War. And what's interesting is that today, when we're filming this, we've been doing this for the past over a month, and today is April 27th that we just watched this. So Marvel Infinity War came out. Marvel Infinity War? Just Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War. There we go. I don't know the name of it. I do know the name of it. It came out today. Today is the day that Avengers Infinity War came out. So we did it. We watched all the movies, and now here's the thing, is that Black Panther just came out in February. I think it was February.
We just saw it like right before we started doing all this.
So it doesn't come to DVD or any form of like online streaming service until I think May 15th is when it comes to DVD and Blu-ray. It's 2.5 weeks from now. Everybody's already today seen Infinity War, it feels like, except us. We can't wait 2.5 weeks to see Infinity War. We just can't do that.
I would have to ban myself from social media.
Yeah, just the spoilers, like maybe they'll last like the opening weekend. And plus, we want to be part of this for the opening weekend. We put so much into watching all these back, and we feel like fully invested fans now. So,
tangent.
what I'm gonna do? Yeah, well, it's the last review, and at the beginning of this, I said we were gonna do 1-sentence reviews.
But everyone knows Roy can't.
That's out the door now.
Say one sentence.
Because we've watched 18 movies, and we are so into this.
Roy rambles. I tried to do 1-sentence reviews, and then you'd be like, "Whoa, you didn't have a lot to say about that." I'm like, "It's supposed to be 1 sentence."
So back
you
to
said a paragraph.
You're rambling now. Now back to Black Panther. So what I'm gonna do is like right before we started this, I was even like sitting like right over there. I like rambled about Black Panther after seeing that. So I'm gonna like just borrow that clip or something from it and put it in after this as like my Black Panther review. Because
We had
like
a
I
real
said,
one somewhere on this channel when we saw the movie.
that was it.
Oh.
Yeah. So Black Panther, we've been talking about it amongst ourselves and wanted to share our thoughts with you. What did you think of it first?
I like the Marvel movies. I'm not super obsessed with them to where like I know every single detail about like the storyline. I get it as an overall thing. So overall as a movie, Black Panther was so cool and so fun. Like I genuinely enjoyed watching the movie. Like it was really fun.
Black Panther, like, it felt like another Thor to me, where it was just so different. It was such a good movie, and it was so much fun, but like it wasn't a Marvel movie that I've like come to anticipate, and like maybe that's a good thing, because you know Marvel movies are adapting and becoming something totally new and different, and they've already done 20-something movies, you know, with the same formula, and maybe it is time to branch it out and a little bit out. That hurt. And try something new. But I did like it a lot, and I'm excited to see Black Panther's kind of involvement in future stories and how that is going to translate with other Marvel movies. Alright, Brennan, we did it. We just watched Avengers Infinity War here at the Universal AMC.
Not in this shot.
Let's go talk about it at home, though. This was crazy. Farley. Alright, Brennan, so we're back home in my apartment. We just got back from watching Avengers Infinity War. I just pulled up the trailer so we could have something on the TV back there. We did it. This is what it all culminated to. We watched
We did it.
18 movies in the past couple months, getting ready for Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. What do you think?
Oh god, that's such a like...
I know, it's so much to process. We were debating in the car the entire way home, just thinking about everything, what everything means. Because, by the way, spoilers, kind of, sort of in this. We're not going to tell you, you know, giant events, just kind of what we thought about how the ending of this movie, how we interpreted that. That makes sense. So you can be spoiler-ish, but...
Well, it depends. When are you putting this out? Like,
I'll put it
is
out
gonna
pretty quick.
Ruin it for
Because it's still
everybody?
opening weekend that we've been seeing this. So if you haven't seen it, just maybe watch this later, skip to the end. But let's just
Yeah.
talk about our general feel for it. So
The way it ended, I wasn't as shocked or like as I thought I was gonna be, as like most cliffhanger movies are. Like this one, it was to me very apparent that like things were not finished and that things would kind of, I don't know, the way it ended was not shocking.
which we knew, because this was originally Infinity War Part 1, and then they filmed another movie back to back with this one, which is going to be released next year. So we don't have to wait a year for some closure on this, which is
Only.
not that bad. Which is going to be Part 2, but now it'll be called something different, potentially. But I don't know. I don't know. I agree with that. Like the ending of this, I didn't anticipate, I guess, it being as dramatic as it was, because it was a very dramatic ending. So dramatic at the fact where just, you know, you were still stunned beyond belief over everything that transpired at the end of this movie, but you're just deep down, you're like, but this isn't the end. Things are gonna work out. But then maybe it won't for some characters.
This is
I don't
getting way
know.
too vague.
It's so big. I'm sorry. Like, Infinity War, it ended up being everything that I wanted it to be. Like, all of the characters were there. It was a huge ensemble scene, but everybody got
Not
like
all
the.
of them.
I know there was a couple that were missing, which were Hawkeye and Ant-Man, which we already knew because they weren't in the promotional marketing for the movie. But it was still cool to see everybody there and everybody kind of like meeting up and working together. Like you pointed out in the car that, like, everybody, even like the more kind of minor Avengers, like they played a pretty significant part. They played their role as best as they could.
Because that was my thing, was like, how are they going to take all of these characters and weave them into this movie? And it wasn't like the final battle scene where they're all just kind of like, wow, like getting ready, and like Thanos is right there, which is like what I was hoping wouldn't happen, because I feel like it would just be messy and cheesy. So throughout the whole movie, like each one of them got to showcase their cool stuff.
And there were some sacrifices. There were a lot of sad moments. They still fit in some humor into this, which was really nice, because I was like nervous from the get-go, because it's still opening weekend. We had to like go all around town just to find tickets for this, and then we had to get to the theater like over 2 hours in advance just to get into the theater, and it was crazy getting into it. So I was just nervous and preparing for the inevitable like dismay that I was going to feel from this movie, but it ended up being fun, heartfelt, humorous, and worth it. And we did it, Brennan. We watched all of the Marvel movies, and we're wearing our Marvel shirts, and we are Marvel fans now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm invested.
Was it worth it? Was it all worth it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Cool. And honestly, there's so much in this entire franchise, this series, whatever this is. We could watch it again, and we could pick up on stuff that we didn't catch the first multiple times we've seen any of these movies. Well, thank you for coming with us on this narrative adventure review of these movies that were supposed to start out as a one-sentence review that ended up not at all being that, but maybe this could double as some sort of like a podcast, because this video is gonna probably be pretty long with 18 movies and at least 3 minutes, 4 minutes per movie. I'm sorry, I like talking about stuff, and we're gonna talk about this probably for days and days to come, but
well, you will.
I will. I'll just think about it. I'll just sit in my room in the dark and I'll be like, ah! I'll do exactly that.
My joke was alluding to the fact that you talk a lot.
I do talk a lot. Should I keep talking, or I should probably end it, right?
Ah!
Alright. Have a good day. Good night, guys, whenever you watch this, and thank you for our wonderful Marvel adventure this video has been. Have a great day.